Glenn, please reach out to Linus Tech Tips. He is building a train wreck of an audio studio. Watch this epic studio tour. Almost killed me about halfway. I would like to see you work together.
Hey, that's something I'd totally be down for. If anybody knows anybody at the Linus Tech Tips channel, hey, please reach out and let's figure a way how to make this happen, because I would love to help them with their studio build. Hey everybody, welcome to SMG Viewers Comments, episode number 302. You got a comment, you got a question, I want to hear from you. Okay everybody, I gotta admit I screwed up a little bit with last week's episode, which was titled, It's Not Your Focusrite 2i2, which is this thing right here. And then a lot of people clicked on it like, hey Glenn, where the hell's the question about the 2i2? And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch! See, what happened was I actually shot both those episodes at the same time so I could get a little bit of breathing space, and forgot that the Focusrite question was actually in this week's episode. So yes, I can freely admit I fucked up. We've got the Focusrite question in this week, and I'm happy to report back that after talking to some of my friends at the Focusrite company, we're going to be doing some more content on the third generation Scarlett stuff, because I think that's some cool bang for the buck gear that I know a lot of you guys are going to want to check out. Anyway, let's get to it.
Might need to break this down to 15 separate instructional videos, Glenn, just for those who actually have the attention span and really care.
Terry, that's a phenomenal suggestion. Actually, I'm going to start doing that. I might start doing with some Monday morning, really basic tutorial type stuff just to help you guys out and get your feet grounded and serve as kind of reference videos, especially for guys who are just coming up and starting with this home recording thing and go, okay, am I doing this wrong? And might be too afraid to ask the questions. So we'll see how it goes over the next couple weeks. I'm going to start with vocals. If that's not out this Monday, it'll be out next Monday. And then we'll take a look at some bass and some guitar recording, that kind of stuff. Just real basic, here's how you do it kind of stuff, and not make it sound fucking terrible. Stay tuned for that, and make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Hey Glenn, fuck you. Why is my Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 a piece of shit to record on? Can it not create good enough quality for mass distribution?
Well, Dashcam California, here's a hint. It's not the Focusrite. The Scarlett 2i2 is absolutely fine. It is absolutely good enough to create stuff for mass distribution. Here's a hint. If you're looking to find the source of the problem, don't look at the Focusrite. Go find a fucking mirror!
Yo, Glenn, fuck you! With COVID vax rolling out, what is your take on you must be vaxxed before you can gig or travel? A few anti-vax bans have been popped up in the last few weeks, to which promoters are saying, no vax, no gig. For me and my band, I have had my first does, as it's a tough industry to break through, so we do not need any further hurdles to jump from the UK.
Hey Mark, please do me a favor and say that out loud before you hit the send button. It just makes the show move along a whole lot faster. I always love doing retakes to try and, say out loud what you're writing on the screen. Seriously, a little proofreading goes a long way there, man. Anyway, here's the thing. Yes, I'm sure there are going to be some anti-vax bans out there, and I'm gonna say, you know what? If they want to do that, more power to them. If they can get gigs, even better, but that might be the problem. Now, for myself, I'm hoping to get vaccinated. I'm hoping international travel opens up really soon, because, I want to go do some cool stuff in England and Sweden and Germany. I want to go hang out with Henning for a few days. I want to go do some videos with Christian Kolikeller. I want to go do some stuff in Sweden with Eric Arco, and hopefully, maybe, if he's going to have me on the show, I'd love to do something with Ola England as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the UK I want to do. I want to go do a tour of the Neve facility and go check out Celestion and a whole bunch of really cool manufacturers over there. Laney, all that kind of stuff. I've got all this stuff planned that I was going to do last year, and then, pandemic happens and we can't do any of it. So if that's the price you have to pay to make things happen, then yeah, that's a price I'm willing to pay. Some people might not be. You guys already know my feelings on that subject. Question is, you got to ask yourself, what are you going to do? All I can say is this: if you're against it, please consider the source of where you're getting your information. If you're basing your opinion on something you read on the Epoch Times, you might want to re-examine the source.
I don't think I've seen anyone ask, but Glenn, how would you approach recording gang vocals? Alternatively, what if you have a limited number of people?
That's a fantastic question. I've actually had a day in here when I was working with a local band called Face Down about 10 years ago. They brought 30 guys in, and we actually did them in shifts. We'd bring 10 guys into the vocal room, and I just set a couple mics up. I didn't even put anybody in headphones. I just ran the monitors loud in here and had them all yell at the same time. There were 3-4 lines in it, and it sounded phenomenal. I wasn't really too worried about the bleed from the monitors. It just kind of added a little bit to the vibe. So, it doesn't have to be absolute perfection. Now, if you don't have more than a couple people, what you can do is you can do them in groups. You can layer up the tracks. The trick is don't always have them spaced at the same space around the microphone. Have them step back every take. Like take a step back, take 2 steps back, then another 2 steps back, then another 2 steps back. That way you get a much bigger sound. It's a trick I've used all the time. And I do that with harmonies all the time, is create a little bit of space, and it creates some depth in your recording. It's definitely worth trying out on your own recordings. Good luck, dude. Okay, everybody, this episode is brought to you by me. I'm giving away a free 3-part mixing course. There's absolutely no cost to you guys whatsoever. It covers the basics: compression, EQ, and reverb. It breaks things down, explains how a compressor works and how you can apply it to your music and have it sound great, and you're not going to fuck up your sounds. I think the compression video alone is a half hour. Now, this course I could probably sell for $30, $35, but fuck it. I'm going to give it to you guys just for watching the show. Links in the description below. It's absolutely no cost to you whatsoever. Hope you enjoy. All right, let's get back to the show. Let's roll the butthurt of the week.
That was unpleasant, unfunny, and pretty worthless. The intolerable screaming. Why?
Because there are many of you dumb motherfuckers who just don't get the message otherwise. The reason you find it unfunny is because it was about you.
Glenn! Fuck you! Anyway, I, a punk rocker, somehow stumbled across a heavy metal show. As most punks, am broke as fuck, and I was wanting your opinions on the Vox Pathfinder 10-watt combo in. It's cheap as chips. Could you do a review?
Oh, I don't know. I played with those little Vox micro amps at TGU there a couple of years ago. Me and Steve from Boston did a video together. They were fantastic. Really enjoyed those, actually. I'd say do a search on my channel for that review if you can find it. I don't know if that's the ones you're talking about or not, whatnot, but they were an awful lot of fun. What the fuck were those? I could definitely recommend one of those. They're an awful lot of fun. You're only going to get one sound, but if it sounds good, then it is good. You don't need a million tones in order to practice well. Of course, the other solution is, instead of being broke as fuck, you could always, get a job.
Any advice on low latency audio streaming with OBS? I needs.
No, because I fucking hate OBS. Every single time I try pulling up OBS to do my live streams, I usually spend half an hour to an hour wondering why it doesn't fucking work the same way it did last week, even though I saved the fucking settings. OBS is a fucking disaster. I don't know, maybe try the Streamlabs version. That might work a little better for what you're doing. But honestly, it's a complete and total clusterfuck as far as I'm concerned. I fucking hate OBS, and I can't wait till somebody comes out with something that's better and easier.
Hey Glenn, long-time listener, first-time caller here. You made it a point here and made videos of this metal channel, and that complaints about distortion levels, amp models, etc. are fucking stupid because of the metal focus. Totally agree with you there and appreciate your willingness to keep a tight focus, but how much, if any, of your content is genre agnostic or applicable to non-metal production? Is there an easy way to tell? Is it all your mileage may vary a situation outside hard rock metal? Any suggestion on channels with relatable advice for less heavy music? Cheers, fuck you, and thanks for the great metal-focused content.
Well, like miking amps for rock and roll works the same way as heavy metal does. You just need to be a little bit more precise with the metal stuff. There's a little bit more discipline involved. The recording drums thing definitely applies to many genres other than mine. Recording your bass guitar, recording your vocals, all that kind of stuff, yes. If you want a more classic rock focused channel, I'd say check out my very good friend Warren Hewitt over at Produce Like a Pro. He's worked with like Aerosmith and Rick Springfield and a whole bunch of bands like that. And he might be just the ticket you're looking for, but he's way too fucking nice.
Hey Glenn, tutorial idea. What is the best way to record drums with one mic? I am currently 18, have no stable job, but my band and I are getting closer to laying down drum tracks on our demo. We don't have any proper interface and money to buy any SM57s or other sick mics. So again, what would be the best way or how to do it would be with record drums with one mic. Thanks, Glenn.
Hey Alan, I remember what it's like to be a broke 18-year-old. I remember doing some drum recordings with some very rudimentary mics into a tape deck, and yeah, the results were pretty horrible. The best thing I can tell you to do is maybe sit on a set of headphones and have some guy walk around your room with the mic and just figure out where it sounds best while the drummer is playing. And then when he gets to the right spot, have the drummer stop, and then you can lock that down on a mic stand or duct tape it to whatever, and hopefully that's going to work. But I don't really recommend recording drums with one mic because I guarantee it's not going to get you the results you're after. In this case, maybe Easy Drummer might be the thing you're looking for. If you're broke as fuck, that's probably going to give you way bigger drum sounds than just one drum mic. But then again, you know, you could be really raw sounding as well with one mic. It really depends on the attitude and what you're looking for. The question is, you need to ask yourself, what exactly do you want?
Power amp tube went in my Fender Deluxe. Went to a retailer in the UK widely recommended as a guitar amp tube expert. Called to ask for more info about the total characteristic statements on the website about each tube. Turns out nobody can actually qualify any of those or even expand on what those changes to amp response I could expect. I smelled a bit of a rat, so went for what I knew were a full set of stock for my amp. All good. A few weeks later, a dumbass friend paid a fortune for a much revered set and fitted them to my Deluxe. Absolutely no change in the breakup, feel, pedal, response, or EQ needs to the amp. Told my friend I'd fitted them in his amp, and he waxed lyrical about how good it sounded. I hadn't actually fitted them. They were still the factory fitted set. I did give him his tubes, by the way.
Oh yes, the great tube scan. You know, people go on and on and on about how this one's brighter, this one's darker, but tube manufacturers don't actually publish frequency response graphs for their tubes for a reason. You might get a little hotter tube, you might get a little quieter tube. That's one thing I noticed in my tube shootout, but for actual tone shift, no, it doesn't fucking happen. One tube might distort a little bit sooner rather than later, and if you're playing low to mid gain, that might affect it. But if you're playing metal, don't even fucking worry about it. Just buy whatever tube you can afford that will fit your amp, and guess what? It's gonna sound just fine. Don't fall for the bullshit that is the tube collector, because it is complete and total fucking bullshit.
Glenn, I have to know, when you criticize people in your viewers' comments or the Oldies But Baddies contest entries, do you ever get people who write you mean comments after? By the way, I love your channel. My husband watches all the time, and our kiddo calls you the yelling guy and leaves the room if she hears your theme music. But we appreciate you. Keep up the good work. Thanks for all the education, fun, and laughs.
Oh, I get the occasional hate comment, that's for sure. I mean, like, I had one there a couple years ago on Merciless Metal Mix Reviews where we thought the kid was trolling us, and turns out he wasn't. He got really super butthurt about it and started, you know, like a 10-page hate thread about me on Reddit. Oh, he criticized my mix and said it sounded like it was trolling, and, you know, all these people, just dogpiled on, oh, that guy's such an asshole, that guy's such an asshole. Then 10 pages in, a couple people were like, dude, we did listen to your mix. It was terrible. I can't control people's reactions. I mean, I've had people call me up. Why are you going to do this? I'm like, well, why the fuck do you care? If you don't like the fucking show, don't watch. It's that fucking simple. My favorite one ever, of course, was the creepy Christian bass player phone call. The guy was dumb enough to leave me an answering machine message bitching about my show. I think that video's got 300,000 or 400,000 views on it. Here's the thing, folks. If you don't want your comments shared with the entire world, just don't make them. It's that simple.
You'd better to arrange a giveaways instead of PF destroying amps. Someone might be dreaming about this amp, though.
More like a fucking nightmare, Ravi. That was the Marshall Chode amp. I can't believe people are still bitching about that review. Here's the thing. You can get better for absolutely free. You can get the ML Sound Labs Amped Roots plugin. You get the first part of that plugin for nothing, the cost of zero, and it will sound infinitely better than that piece of shit Marshall Chode. The whole point of those videos is to save your dumbass some money. Okay, so please get the fuck off your high horse and try paying attention to the message that is being conveyed to your stupid ass. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. And as always, until next time, praise Karam and crush your enemies. I'll see you next week.